Why would I betray you?
We all have our secrets. We just didn't get to yours yet.
The release of No Time to Die brought Daniel Craig's impressive 15-year run as James Bond to a close, leaving fans wondering who'll take over the iconic role and what Bond 26 will bring. Craig's time as 007 shook up the franchise in big ways while staying true to Bond's core appeal. With blockbusters like Casino Royale and Skyfall under his belt, he's set the bar high for whoever steps in next. Since Amazon bought MGM in 2022, there's also been buzz about potential spin-off projects like streaming series. Still, the main focus is on the next James Bond movie and, of course, who will be the next new 007. After Amazon acquired MGM, there were some worries about the franchise's future, but producer Michael G. Wilson reassured fans that 007 isn't going anywhere, echoing the promise made in No Time to Die's end credits. "It's a whole new world," Wilson said in a 2022 interview with Deadline. "We've got to see what happens with Amazon, but there will always be a Bond." In October 2024, Amazon MGM studio exec Jennifer Salke shared a bit about the next Bond film, confirming they're taking their time. But as of now, there's no clear timeline for production, and fans might be in for a long wait. The gap between No Time to Die and Bond 26 could even set a new record for the longest stretch between Bond movies. Back in the early days, new Bond films were released almost annually, but as the franchise evolved, the gaps grew longer. The current record is the 6-year break between License to Kill in 1989 and GoldenEye in 1995, which saw Timothy Dalton pass the torch to Pierce Brosnan. If Bond 26 doesn't arrive by 2027, it'll surpass that record since No Time to Die came out in 2021. With no actor yet cast as the new 007 and no production start in sight, it's looking more likely that Bond 26 won't hit screens until 2028 or 2029. While the wait may be long, fans are hopeful that the next installment will be worth it and deliver on the franchise's legacy. Amazon MGM executive Jennifer Salke recently shared an update on the timeline, stating, "The global audience will be patient. We don't want too much time between films, but we are not concerned at this point." While not giving away much, her comments suggest they're focusing on quality over speed. As for casting, Salke remained tight-lipped. She acknowledged the many ideas floating around about potential actors, calling them interesting, but didn't address specific rumors, like the one about Aaron Taylor Johnson being offered the role. She added, "We have a good and close relationship with Ian and Barbara and Michael. We are not looking to disrupt the way those wonderful films are made. For us, we are taking the lead." The big question is still, who will follow Daniel Craig as James Bond? Over the years, big names like Idris Elba and Tom Hardy have been fan favorites. However, Elba has publicly said he's not interested in the role, even though he appreciates being fan-casted so often. The two frontrunners for the next James Bond seem to be Henry Cavill and Aaron Taylor Johnson. Henry Cavill is already a big name, and anyone who's seen him in The Man from U.N.C.L.E. knows he can pull off the suave, tuxedo-wearing spy vibe with ease. He's got the looks, the charm, and the presence to slide into the role seamlessly. Cavill even auditioned for Bond back in 2005, but lost out to Daniel Craig, partly because he was just 22 at the time. According to Casino Royale director Martin Campbell, Cavill nailed the audition, but his youth worked against him. "If Daniel didn't exist, Henry would have made an excellent Bond," Campbell told Variety. "He was very handsome, in great shape, and looked just terrific." Still, there are a few strikes against Cavill, none of them really his fault. He's left The Witcher after 3 seasons, and his return as Superman fizzled out despite his cameo in Black Adam. There's also the question of whether he can still anchor a major franchise. On top of that, Bond producers tend to avoid casting actors with huge name recognition, which could work against Cavill. As much as he fits the role, that pattern might rule him out. Aaron Taylor Johnson is the other top contender for the next James Bond, and he's no stranger to action-packed roles. Known for playing Quicksilver in Avengers Age of Ultron and the lead in Kick-Ass and Kick-Ass 2, Taylor Johnson has proven his range and charisma. Recently, he's been making waves as Kraven in Kraven the Hunter, which only strengthens his case. According to The Sun, Taylor Johnson is reportedly the producer's favorite for Bond, with an offer already on the table. Bond is Aaron's job, should he wish to accept it, an anonymous source claimed. When asked about the role in March, Taylor Johnson said, "I find it charming and wonderful that people see me in that role. I take it as a great compliment." While that's far from a confirmation, it does suggest he's open to the possibility. However, Taylor Johnson has been playing it coy. In interviews with Esquire and Rolling Stone UK, he's focused on promoting Nosferatu and Kraven the Hunter, saying, "I'm here to promote those. I can only really talk about the things I'm going to show and tell." A year ago, insider Matthew Baloney noted that Taylor Johnson met with Bond producer Barbara Broccoli, and the meeting reportedly went well. Baloney added that Taylor Johnson fits the younger direction the Broccoli's want to go, accomplished but not particularly famous. Ironically, with his recent high-profile projects, his growing fame might make him too famous for Bond. For now, Taylor Johnson's casting remains unconfirmed, but he seems to check a lot of the boxes the franchise is looking for in the next 007. Now, one wild casting choice for Bond is Margot Robbie. Former James Bond actor George Lazenby has voiced his support for Margot Robbie as a potential ballsy James Bond, or Jane Bond, as he suggests. Lazenby, who starred as 007 in 1969's On Her Majesty's Secret Service, stated his preference for a female Bond, particularly praising Robbie for her confidence and screen presence. Speaking to The Sun, he said, "I would rather see a woman on screen than a man. Margot Robbie would be good. She comes across like she's very confident." Lazenby's comments align with his earlier statements about being open to a woman playing Bond. However, his stance contrasts with the views of Barbara Broccoli, the longtime Bond producer. Broccoli has reiterated her position that James Bond is a male character, stating, "Bond can be of any color, but he is male. I'm not interested in taking a male character and having a woman play it." While the idea of a female Bond remains divisive, Robbie's rising profile in action-packed roles, like Harley Quinn in Birds of Prey, makes her a strong candidate in the eyes of some fans and critics. Regardless, Broccoli's vision for the franchise rules out the possibility for now. As Bond 26 prepares to usher in a new James Bond, there's speculation about whether familiar faces from the franchise will return to reprise their roles. Historically, characters like M, Q, and Moneypenny have transitioned between different Bond eras. For instance, Judi Dench famously continued as M when the franchise moved from Pierce Brosnan to Daniel Craig, and Desmond Llewellyn portrayed Q across decades, starting in 1963. Some actors from the Daniel Craig era have expressed interest in returning. Ben Whishaw, whose contract as Q ended with No Time to Die, has mentioned he'd be open to reprising the role. Similarly, Ralph Fiennes, who took over as M in Skyfall, has voiced enthusiasm for continuing in the franchise. Naomi Harris, who plays the fan-favorite Moneypenny, might also return if the circumstances are right. Their involvement could offer continuity as the series transitions to a new lead actor. However, there's always the possibility of a clean slate. Starting fresh with an entirely new cast, including secondary characters, could provide the rebooted Bond era with a distinct identity and tone. Whether familiar faces return or the series opts for a full reset, Bond 26 has an opportunity to reshape the franchise for a new generation. Well, that's it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more updates on this and other exciting upcoming movies. We'll see you next time.